this, but nobody's mortal.
Well, so I'll kind of follow you up. My thoughts after the film. What I love in general about Wolverine's character is just like he's a superhero, but he's like his dark side is really what intrigues me, because I feel like this is why I never really was like into like Captain America and into like I like Captain America now. Yeah. I like Superman now. But as a kid, I didn't really feel them because I'm like, yo, these dudes have no dark side. You know what I mean? Like, how do I even trust this guy when everything's peace positive? Hey, I'll come save you. Like, yo, why do you want to save me? You know what I mean? And I just trusted. I like that Wolverine had a dark side, and I feel like all of us have dark sides, and you can't truly be good unless you're dealing with your dark. You know what I mean? And you see it, man. This movie is fucking dark. Like,
I gotta watch this tomorrow.
It is bad.
Spoilers or not, you're gonna be like,
it is bad. Like, my man is struggling. You know what I mean?
The claws out, like third claw can't come up. Like,
he is dying in front of you on the screen. Yeah. Like, literally. Like, and you just like, I'm like, Zoe, you like, man, come on, man, will we pull through, man? You gonna get it? You know what I mean? And he like, damn, he ain't getting it. You know what I mean? And it's just not happening. And as further the film goes, the less he is more of himself. So I would say after watching the film, Patrick Stewart, incredible job as Professor X. That dynamic of him, just they referred to him as the most dangerous mutant in this future alternative space, whereas like he can't control his mind now, so this dude is having mind hemorrhages and it's shaking up the entire earth when he can't control himself. So that dynamic is ridiculous. His daughter, which you haven't even really touched on, that dynamic was crazy. And like I said before, Smoke and Fish, I was skeptical that 3 characters could hold this entire movie. Because I'm like, where are the other mutants at? And I was wrong. I was proven wrong. They held it well. They shared the screen very well. And I think even after Hugh Jackman is done now, I mean, that's 17 years. Year 2000, he was Wolverine. And this is 2017. So that marks 17 years this guy been playing this character. And if they want to bring on the daughter as a reboot, I would definitely watch that and be probably just as invested as I was with Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of like the underlying themes is like, mutants are an extinct race, and like with the government controlling it, and that whole side of it is really dark. When you can understand why Wolverine is fighting so hard for the future, mutants, children. Right. Like when you got, one of the legends who knows he's dying. He's pretty much setting it up for himself. All right, I got one last fight in me. What is it going to be for? It's going to be for a survival of a race, which is really dark when you think about it. But yeah, other than that, stellar movie. And also, this is like the only superhero movie I think I've ever seen where they got comic books inside the movie saying who these people are. Like, that's so wild. Like, like it's a thing everybody knows. It's like, oh shit, like that dude has been written about in books and children are reading it. But there's no other superhero movies where it's actually looking back on itself and saying, no, we're not just a comic book. Like, it's a lot realer than that. And he tells X-23 that in the car, like, yo, it's not a real place. Like, I was there.
Right.
Yo, that place ain't there no more.
Right. It's a comic. It's a story.
Yeah, it's a story.
Smoke, I'm gonna let you finish this off, brother. You got the last shot on this one.
All right. Cool. I just want to get back a little back to the fact that you were saying that this dude was playing this since 2000.
Yes, sir.
So, we were watching this character develop for 17 years.
Crazy.
So going into this movie and seeing like where he was at, and it's like it was almost impossible to not have any type of like emotional attachment to him. Yeah, I mean, to see what he was going through. When you watch this dude be young and rejuvenated and get his memory back, and Charles and Eden got his memory taken away from him. You've seen that chapter happen. So, and then going back to the last movie, the Wolverine, like that was another time when you seen him like at a vulnerable state. You know what I mean? And he kind of embraced that. Like even though he was like doing shit and getting tired and he was getting hurt, he always kind of, even though he like to the like you know, a small part of him embraced that pain, embraced that hurt, because he's been living for so many like generations. He's been living so long, like, and he felt so much pain emotionally that physically it didn't really bother him. You know, like. So I kind of like when it was going back towards the movie where, you know, he was trying to like pull his blades out. You see like, you know what I mean, he's straining to pull his own blades out, and his healing factor was just like non-existent pretty much. It wasn't much of a healing factor there. Right. Like just seeing all that stuff like in fruition, like seeing it on screen, yo, it was just all real, like it was real heavy. Because like I said, for 17 years, yo, I don't know nobody who's done this before. Like had a one-run character for 17 years. Like I watched it do in the span of like what 6-7 movies. Like that's crazy.
Right. I don't
like,
think
everything that the Wolverine. I mean, not the Wolverine. Everything that Logan was. It was. I don't know, man. It was almost like poetry in motion, man. Like it was everything. It was dramatic, but it had so much heart to it. You know, it had like elements of surprises and tragedy. It was just, I don't know, man. It was just a lot of emotions in it, man. Like it was just, I was just into it. Like the movie was so in depth and complex. With just being a comic book movie, that was unheard of. Like comic book movies are getting good now, but the layer of complexity and depth in this movie was like crazy.
Right. I agree.
And bring it back to the director who was in the last movie. You know what I mean, he did this movie or whatever. Like James Mangold. Like I know, like I said, the Wolverine's not like a favorite, but I really dig the story arc that he took when he made the Wolverine movie, yo. So I kind of had confidence already, you know what I mean, because I saw what he was going for.
Yeah.
So basically, like you said, you know what I mean, Patrick Stewart, you know what I mean, he is Professor X. Like, he's not even Patrick Stewart. I don't know why I'm saying his name. Like that's not him. That's Professor X. Like he sold that gold. X-23 was pure gold. Like I fell in love with her within the first 10 minutes of her being on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, man. Like if you haven't seen that movie, I don't know what you're doing. Like you don't like movies, cause that movie's crazy, yo. Like what are you doing with your life? Go see that movie.
Got killed along with him.
On that note, brother, we gonna start this 2005 review, man.
Yo, hip hop.
Yes, sir. So you know how we do this thing, man. You know, we review an entire year of hip hop. We classify our favorite albums, favorite artists, and everything in between. So the first topic we're going to touch on, we're going to go, you know what, let's go albums. We'll go backwards this time. And we'll go from 5 to 1, 5 meaning least, 1 being greatest. And we're all going to go round table. And yeah, so 2005 was a very different year to me. We reviewed, the 90s. We reviewed 2015. We touched. I pretty much feel like we kind of balanced it out. But these mid 2000 years to me are very interesting because you have super underground stuff going on. We got mainstream stuff going on. We got other regions popping off, and the cast of what is good is not always agreed upon. You know what I mean? So on that note, we can start on our top 5 album. Anybody can go. Your number 5 album for 2005.
I'll go first. For my number 5 for 2005 was Beanie Siegel's "The Becoming." Probably had it a little higher once upon a time, but just when the years go by and you kind of explore the year a little more, that has a way of shuffling your order around a bit. But I felt like that was his best album up to that point. That is his best album, period. He was in jail when it came out, but the introspection, the lead-off single, "I Can Feel It in the Air," which is obviously not a top 40 single, but it got burned for the kind of single for it to be. It got burned on both video and radio. It was just a great single, had a lot of feel. The album had great album cuts. He had Purple Rain with Bun B. He had the joint with Redman. He had It's On with Jay-Z on there, where they're literally just going back and forth, and it's almost like you don't know who's taking it. I really felt like that was yes, there we go. That was to me, his best marriage of concepts, beats, and rhymes all on one album. Like, he really focused hard on that one, and I think he delivered a standout project. You know, and even the album title. You know, I'm very big on album titles. I think if you can be clever with it in a way, that says a lot about your project. So when he titled it The B Coming, and he's Beanie Siegel, B. Coming, like all of that, yeah, like I think he was just in the zone for this whole album, and it's a shame he was in jail for it because he didn't really get to, you know, promote it and be out there. Yeah. And I think it still went gold with no real Rockefeller hits or anything like that. Yeah. And and you know what's funny? This album, I believe, came out on the Dame Dash music group. This was at the time where the Rockefeller had split and Dame Dash had his group. And I believe, because I have the CD.
That was a heavy topic in this year.
The Rockefeller breakup, and this was probably the first release off that now defunct Dame Dash music group. Right. But yeah, that's my number 5. I think just in general it was one of the standout albums of that year.
And I'll piggyback off of that because that was my number 5 album too. Like Ray said, to me that was Beanie's most complete album. Like we already knew Beanie had the skill set. But it was like the first album. Like, he was too street for most people to be held as lyricist. I think we had it on a podcast before, like rapper versus lyricist. Mm-hmm. Like, we know Beanie can spit, but is he really a lyricist or is he more just a rapper? I think on this album here, he had the right balance of, okay, I can hit you with street stuff, I can hit you with the introspective, right, and I can hit you with some, more calm stuff, or for whatever. I think one of the main tracks to me that was groundbreaking to me was him and Redman. Mm-hmm.
One shot deal.
One shot deal. To me, like, Redman's not gonna rap with anybody.
No. Bun B was on that album too.
Exactly. Bun B was on that album as well.
That was smooth.
Yeah. But for him to be on the track with Redman, and be able to hold his ground with Redman, because to me, if we call him a bar for bar, Redman's probably up there. Period. Whoever you put Redman with, for him to be able to be on the same track with Redman and hold his own, to me was impressive.
Right.
And you got to remember, he also had Grand Puma on there, Sadat X on there. So he had, to me, he had a lot of range on his album. There's a lot of growth. It was just that he was, for better or worse, a product of his environment. Because who knows what Beanie could have been if he didn't make the decision he made. Right. Because Jay always looked at he was going to be the heir to him once he was supposed to quote unquote retire.
I'm not trying to change. I'm just trying to give you some game, like Jay said.
Talent wise, yeah.
Talent wise, he was the most talented person on the rock.
Absolutely.
Nobody cared about Bleak. Let's be real. Nobody cared about Bleak. Other coming to age.
Except for Kelly.
And even on this, he was like, yo, Jay wrote that verse. Like, okay, well, you just took everything away. Right. You know what I mean? But I think this was easily his best album, his most balanced album, his most focused album. But he went to jail. It wasn't promoted right, and he never recovered from that. This should have been his showing out at this point. It was his third album. Everything was it should have been full circle for him. Unfortunately, it wasn't. But this was his time to be that man, that dude. The franchise player.
It didn't help that the like you mentioned, Brandon, like the Rock and the Dame that like the split that wasn't helping the album release either too. Right. So I think his best records are on this album.
Alright.
Wow, Petey
Smoke, what you got number 5, brother?
Oh man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a little bit torn, man, because I wanna put the Beans on. I wanna put that as number 5, but I kind of wanna rank it a little higher because I still consider that I feel like that was Beans' highest point. Well, I wouldn't say not in his life. Obviously, but
right.
Like as far as album wise, I felt like that was his highest point. So I don't know if I'm gonna put that as number 5. I think I'm gonna go with the Minstrel Show for number 5.
Ooh.
I'm gonna put that as my number 5 because 2005, when that album came out, that was the first album I got introduced into them, and it was just like I don't even know how to explain it, yo. It was just like hip hop. It was like I felt like I was listening to a mixtape that was an album because they were just they just pure hip hop. Like it's not none of the buffoonery, none of the bullshit. Plus with the Minstrel Show, they made mockery of that shit on top of that. So I just felt like this album like front to back all the way through. I could listen to every track. Like I didn't skip anything.